We are backstage right now, getting ready for being live on River West Radio. We'll be starting in less than 30 seconds. So please stand by. We're about to start. All right, 10 seconds. Welcome to AbilityMKE Now. My name is Sue Roskopf. AbilityMKE Now is a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of a disability, it's a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. Joining us today as my co-host is Michael Martin Humel. Michael is a writer, speaker, and podcaster who works to bridge the gap between the disabled and able-bodied people. Michael, so glad to have you joining us. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And it's good to see you. How are you?
Doing great. It's a
Good.
beautiful day here in Milwaukee. So I am going to go ahead and bring in our amazing guest for today. We have Joshua George joining us. He is the general manager for an international business networking group called CIBN Connect. His project is to share happy capitalism with every kind of business leader. So, Joshua, your reputation actually precedes you a little bit in my household here. So, I am so happy to have you joining us. How are you?
I'm great. And I got to tell you, it is a pleasure to be here. It is so fantastic to be speaking to this type of audience about these kinds of subjects because, when I was saying, write me in with happy capitalism, I'm thinking to myself, what does that really mean? And to me, it has inclusion at its core, right? I think we can build a world. And to me, happy capitalism is all about using your business to build the world that you want to be in. And to me, that means having inclusion built right in from the center, right? And so I'm stoked to be here was the gist of that. And let's take her away. Huh? You ready?
I am so ready. So, like I said, so happy to have you here. I understand you have quite a bit that goes on a weekly basis where you are a leader. You want to dive into that just a little bit? Give us a flavor of what it is that you all do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. I mean, really simply put, we facilitate, like 10 to 12 online weekly meetings where we have created a community space for business owners, salespeople, entrepreneurs, and just leaders in that space to connect. And we do it a bit differently by being, value up front and being information based. So it's all about education. And the idea is that when we put the community first and we put the abundance and well-being of the people around us first, that then we really get to thrive and we can thrive together, right?
That
Um,
that is
geez,
huge. You're totally clicking with me here on how we do all the things that we do. As far, it's all about the community and how we can all grow together.
oh, I think it's so important. There are so many things right now that are telling us we need to be pulled apart. And there's this massive innovation in technology that is saying maybe there's not as much potential in certain industries as we thought there was. And so we're seeing massive transitions in the job market, and we're seeing lots of isolation. We're seeing return to home. We're seeing return to office. And really, people are lacking common spaces where we can just be a part of something. We're lacking community. And in all our, excuse me, and in our small way, that is what we do. And so it's really quite humbling to be a part of that. And have the influence that we do, as I'm sure you understand quite well. And you, Michael and I were talking before the show about the things that we've done that made us proud. And Michael jumped right in and he says, well, Michael, you tell this better than I do. What we were talking about before. You want to take her away from there?
Um, well, I'm a writer, speaker, podcaster, and my mission is to end the judgment and assumptions surrounding disability and help people with disabilities be seen, heard, felt, and understood. And every once in a while, I'll get someone who I don't know come up to me and they are in a wheelchair and they're disabled and they recognize me from what I do and they thank me for what I'm doing as far as like trying to help and like just the needle forward so that is something that like keeps you going. It makes you like proud of what you're actually doing.
Michael, I got to say how much I respect that, because before this call, I asked him, in 8 years of doing the work that you're doing in podcasting and creating awareness in this space, I asked him, what is the thing that you're the most proud of?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, the difference that I've made on a human level, that one-to-one connection. And I got to say, that's it. That's the one. That is the thing that gives all this work substance. When somebody comes back to you and says, this made a difference for me.
Yeah. I have a
You tell
question for
me,
you though. I'm
please.
curious. In the age of AI and what you're talking about with relationships and connection, does the uh what AI is doing, does that make you afraid or like are you not concerned with it?
I am a relentless opportunist, and the fact of the matter is, yeah, there are going to be challenges, there are going to be hurdles, and those hurdles are going to be multifaceted, as in there'll be a lot of them. But the opportunity, and this is for the community that I care about the most, small business owners, right? The people who run mom and pop shops, family businesses like my own, the opportunity to leverage AI to enhance your operations
Mhm.
are immense. Small businesses now are, and in the very near future, going to be more equipped than ever to do more of the work that they do more effectively, to enhance their profit margins, and to just simply change the world in the way that they want to. You know, I know for fact that people don't start businesses because they think it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
They do it because they have to. They have a passion for it, because if they don't do it, it hurts inside. That's
Yeah.
what the business owner is all about. And so when they get their hands on new tools, when they get to innovate, this is an exciting time to be alive. And I personally think we're going to see an explosion in the way that small business is represented in our economies.
I love that.
Yeah,
Thank
hopefully
you.
that wasn't too long-winded of an answer there for you,
No, that
Michael.
was good. That's what I was interested in. Yeah. Thank you.
And
So,
oh, sorry, Sue. I was just gonna say, just on that thing, Michael, one thing, and I'd love to bring this up, is the way that these tools are actually going to help more vulnerable folks in our communities as well. I mean, my brother is dyslexic, and so he has a
Hmm.
very difficult time reading. And
Okay.
now all these powerful tools in AI make reading and writing for him way more effective.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these things that he used to have challenges with are now things that he's thriving in, right? And
Hmm.
and so for accessibility from an individual level, this is another huge bonus that makes us all more productive capitalists, right? So anyway, Sue, sorry to interrupt you there. Please.
no, actually, you're making me think too about I've got a friend who uses speech to text to be able to do a lot of his writing. Then anything that if he's composing an email, because he has mobility issues and typing is he can do it, but it takes a long time because it's hard for him to make those motions. So being able to use the technology like that really does make a difference. So the advances that are happening, we haven't even scratched the surface yet on how many good things will come from it, as far as how it's going to help the disability community. There's a lot there. There's so much there.
You're so right. We've hardly scratched the surface. And it's tough because a lot of times folks have a very surface level understanding of what's happening. They hear AI, they think those annoying chatbots that are now replacing customer service people who were already kind of annoying, right?
Mhm.
And they think about these chat GPTs where you just go in and maybe you can ask it some questions, right? But the actual applied use cases for these that you see developing in the business world, especially, are very well developed already. And I happen to be quite attuned to them because one of our clubs is all about tech. It's all about tech and business. So we meet every week. We talk about the new innovations in AI that are coming out, as well as practical use cases for businesses. And the things that are being done are just tremendous.
Excellent. So you had mentioned that you have several different events each week. So, and you just mentioned one of them is a technology-based theme. Do all of the different groups that get together, is there a different theme for each one then?
Yep. Yep. Each one has its own subject orientation and upfront value that we have arranged experts to host the clubs and and essentially preach the gospel in their given subject matter in their expert field, right? So Tech Talk Tuesday is led by one of my favorite members. Her name is Nadia Theron out of the UK, and she is an AI consultant. She's done a lot of very significant projects. She builds custom models for business owners and has recently launched a really cool suite of LLMs or large language models that help business owners who are just starting access incredible advice from marketing to building a business plan to creating their funding plan. It's just, and the difference is the original chat GPTs that you use, you have to prompt them, right? But these things are custom trained in each industry or field to prompt you as a business owner into doing the steps of creating your plan, right? And so it's a fundamental change that is enormous. In fact, she just launched this product, darn near my whole community has signed up immediately, right? And so it's great. But another club I have is the Boss Club, which is all about business strategy, where we help business owners connect to fundamental things like how to build KPIs or key performance indicators into their business, how often they should be measuring and reporting these KPIs, how to align their team. We've also covered, financial literacy as a subject. Last month, we covered diversity and inclusion from a strategic standpoint, how to include people in your business and have that add value. And that was an amazing conversation to be a part of. That's two. And I don't want to chew up the whole thing talking about me, guys. I really do appreciate your questions. But the essence of it is, guys, information is so abundant and it should be free. But the tough part really sometimes is connecting to the right people and the experts to implement. And so we've kind of built a whole organization around just being upfront with value and helping people. And it's going and growing, and we love to see it. But I'd love to see the great things being done in places like this as well to help bring folks together. I think that's the missing piece of the puzzle for a lot of people.
Having a community that you can go back to and connect with, a lot of, in the last 5 years or so, we've done a lot with Happy Neighborhood Project, which is a networking community. And the number of people we have met through that today, not only are they an acquaintance through business, these are people that have become good friends over time. And that whole concept of community, you don't know where you're going to find it sometimes. It can come up as a surprise. At least it did to me. I never imagined that it would grow to that point where, literally friends that we call up just to chat and get caught up. So I know with what you guys do with connecting and creating a community, what is your favorite aspect of what it is that you all do in that?
What is my favorite part of being a community builder? I love that. Let me just take a moment to just appreciate the Happy Neighborhood Project. When I hear about great organizations, there's usually a couple, and people will go, man, I really like this, but if you guys heard about these guys too, Happy Neighborhood Project's like right at the top of almost everybody's list. So I love that call out there. What is the best part of being a community builder? So I have my own business that I'm currently building. It's a family business. My mom's been working on it for 15 years, right? My number one ambition in life is to make my mom a millionaire. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. I bet she loves that too.
I hope so. But let me tell you about that. So in the process of making my mom a millionaire, every time I come up with my development plan for the business, with the project path that I'm taking, whatever I'm building, in our community, I am blessed to be able to ask 10 to 15 relevant experts about any problem I have. And every single time they want to help me and they just bless me. And anytime I meet new business owners that need help, I just bless them. And that is the community and the culture that we have. We take time for each other. So, for example, we just launched our summer sale. And before we did the summer sale, before we promoted it, we did all these things. We spoke to the relevant experts to make sure it would be done right. And it went really well for us. It helped us grow the community in a way that made sense. And ultimately, growing the community is our job because that's what helps us serve our members, right? Bringing in more of the right people. So, what do I like about being a community builder? All the people that make it amazing.
Excellent. Which I totally relate to that, because that really is. I thought when I first started doing the networking that and talking to people that it really, I was going to enjoy, learning about other businesses and all, seeing what other people are doing. And I never pictured necessarily that group of friends would actually be, well, I guess I just kind of said it, that group would become somebody that I would consider a friend, not just a business acquaintance, and somebody I kind of work with, sorta, it's a different aspect. It's a different way to look at it, because you want to help your friends out, right? You want to
That's
do good
exactly
things
it.
for your friends and grow that aspect of it. It's a different way to look at what you do when you can actually help others. And what is your goal? Are you trying to help others? Are you looking to make a difference for yourself, or are you looking to help others? Because really, I think a lot of people end up realizing once they do this for a bit that the more people you help along the way, the more that ends up coming back and helping yourself in the long run. So having that outward focus makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Although you have touched on a pet peeve of mine, though, I want to circle back to that.
Go for it.
So yeah, being value upfront, being the guy who blesses people, this is huge. This is fundamental. And when we grow the community, when we bring people in, this is conversation one. This is how it works
Mhm.
here. That's how we do it. Right. But a lot of folks are disillusioned with what we do and how this whole industry works, because they get out here and too many people think that this is your de facto lead gen strategy. They think I'm going to show up and people are going to hand me business. And then they
Mm.
get disillusioned because they find out that isn't it, right? Um, they think they're going to make some friends, and the friends are just going to give them things. And you name another type of relationship that works like that. Hello, give me things.
Yeah, that's not how it
So
works.
so there's a lot of disillusionment, right? Because people, they struggle. And so one of our things that we do is we work very hard to help bring people to the light that way. But I mentioned a pet peeve. My pet peeve, really seriously, is there's so much advice out there that says be the relationship builder, right? Be the guy who always gives, right? In fact, there's this one book, and I'll call him out in public. It's called Big Potential. I don't remember the name of the author. Very well-intentioned book, I'm sure. But the whole point of the book, if you go through it and read it, is it's all about be the guy who gives, be always value up front, never be asking, always be giving. And it sounds so beautiful, but it also sounds like something a wolf would write.
Ooh.
There is a second half to this formula, right? It's not just magic and karma that makes this value come back to you, right? It's respect and trust and earning it, right? And so it's not just about giving value, but it's about taking your time and putting it in the right place. And yes, establishing healthy boundaries, right? And creating, respect for your time, right? One of the main questions I get from new networkers is they get, how am I supposed to share my value? I love it when they start with that question, right? But you
That's
also have to be very,
perfect.
very cognizant of who wants to take your value, right?
Okay.
It's a scary
So what
thing in this world. Sorry, Sue,
what is
please.
I was going to ask, what is your answer then when people come to you and start there? Is that part of what your role is then, is to consult in that aspect of how to go about their efforts when they are networking and meeting others? Is that part of what your role is?
Sort of. I actually personally spend an hour with every one of our members to learn everything about their business that I can. I learn who they are, what they do, what they sell, who it's for. I then take some time to investigate the business to establish what the infrastructure is, what the strong points are, what the weaknesses are. This is actually the story with you guys. Here's my
Go for
start of
it.
networking. This is
Go
a
ahead.
good one. So when I first started networking, I had just graduated university, right? And I had joined the family business, and I'm now all of a sudden surrounded by business owners. I had been in sales. I've done sales since I was 12 years old. We used to do door to door to fundraise for the church. We sold beef jerky and honey, right? I got into some sales jobs. I put myself through university selling suits, right? But when I get into networking, people start asking me questions like, who do you know that owns a house? I don't know if you guys have heard a lot about the Gen Z generation, but I don't know anybody who owns a house that's still, right? Like in my demographic, right? Then they would say things like, who do you know that has $100,000 in assets that they want to help managing? Oh boy. If anybody happened to be asking for baristas or bartenders, I could have been super helpful, right? But where I started was I don't know what to add for value. So here's what I did. I listened closely. I asked great questions, right? I didn't have a network to lean into, but what I became was essentially a brainstorming partner. That's where my skill set lies. I can identify problems and solutions fairly quickly in most settings, right? I began the course of just asking great questions. What I found is really great people get a lot of value from just talking and being heard. And if that is the one way that you can show up and add value is just listening, then you're doing something good because that is the missing piece for most people, right? The next step to adding value, make your 5 best friends in business. Make it your mission to help those 5 people. That is an enormous way to add value. Like, share, comment, react, another free way to add value. It's not always about the money. It's about who puts in the time to build a community, and anybody can do it. It doesn't matter if you're in your first day of business, your 5th year. It doesn't matter if your budget is $0 or $10,000. None of those matter. The person who adds value is the person who tries. That's it.
And I would
I
think
love
that the more you talk, the more ideas you get, and
Oh yeah.
the more your brain starts turning, and then the conversation even gets better than it was before.
You're not kidding, Michael. People, I'm at the point now people are offering to hire me to pay that or hire me to teach them how to do speaking, communication, stuff like that. I don't sell that. I don't want to sell that. But people ask me, they're like, how'd you get so good at this? And I go, well, I practice 10 times a week. How often do you practice? Right. That's just in the clubs, and then I do the onboardings. And so the whole process is I take the time. Right. And Michael, I think, heck, I see you taking the time. It doesn't take, after 8 years, I've got to imagine the amount of experience that you have working in the space that you're working in, and the wonderful things that you've learned about the community in that space. I mean, I wonder if anything comes to mind for you.
Well, just it's changed a lot in the time I've started to now, as far as how they approach it and what they think is right as far as certain words. Like we talked about uh, earlier, ableism. I don't like that word.
Hmm.
I I I come at that whole genre as a from a different perspective, as far as the more we talk, the deeper we get. Hopefully, over time, things will change because we educate ourselves. But I don't like certain words and like certain for, for certain perspectives that are like old and set in your ways, and because things grow and things change, and I just don't like how it used to be. And
Mm.
some people hold on to that.
Does it ever feel like reductive? I guess it's kind of the feeling I get a
Yeah,
bit about what you're
definitely,
describing.
definitely.
It's amazing how many people have to struggle with this, and I know I hate to draw a rough comparison, but business owners are at the center of my mind all the time.
Hmm.
And the first thing I learned about being in the position I'm in is your job is to believe in these people with them.
Yeah,
The rest of the world can doubt them, right? But if they made that leap to be a business owner, they made that leap to try this because it's a scary, dangerous thing to be doing, right? You've got
yeah.
to love it. The first thing you can do to help this person to bless them is to believe in their business with them, right? And on an individual level, I think that's got to apply somehow to folks with disabilities. And I think we all have something, but I don't want to draw too rough a comparison in that way, you know?
No, I think it translates because you believe in business owners, you believe in people who are disabled and have a vision and a mission and a way they want to go. So the belief that you have in that specific person, it translates. It doesn't matter if if you're disabled or you're a business owner.
Mm, absolutely. And I think this is the best time in the world to be disabled. That's a weird thing to say, but I'm just going to say it because I wanted to circle back to AI, Michael. And if you haven't taken the time to investigate some of these tools, we are going to have disabled people in rocket wheelchairs real soon. I'm being hyperbolic.
Oh, yes.
I strangely agree with you, just because initially, I mean, if we had been, I was disabled before the ADA, and that was a hard time.
Oh my
And
God.
the more we go on, it's just going to get better because it's going to get easier. Minds are going to change, and technology is going to like improve, and it's going to just make everyone's life better.
Mm.
It just, I think, it has to do with people's perspective because, in a way, I'm grateful that the technology is getting better, but I'm also scared a little bit because I tend to gravitate toward the have glasses half empty kind of thing. So like
Pessimist.
I have that dichotomy going on.
It's a tough thing to balance. Business
Yep.
owners, by the way, the entrepreneurs, relentless optimists, almost to a fault sometimes. It can be
Yeah.
it can be an issue. So you gotta have that balance. But
Yeah.
Michael, I just what I love to say about this in particular, and Sue, I hope you agree, the way that these tools will enable every single one of us to be more productive members in the economy. Okay, so I'm a business guy, I'm an economics guy. The pure simple thing of it is nations are built upon great individuals doing awesome things, right? Business builders, excellent people who show up and work hard, right? And the more people we can get to be as productive as possible, the better the economy is. The higher the GDP is, the more wealth that there is. So when we learn that there are innovative technologies that make it so that people who used to have to be, on disability or they have to, or maybe, and they probably should still be supported, FYI, don't misunderstand me here. But when we make an economy where everybody as an individual is able to contribute because they're empowered with the right tools, we make an economy that makes money. And what do we like about money? Lots. And that's happy capitalism for you guys. That's it. Everybody winning together. Right? We use
Yeah.
our businesses to create the change we want to see in the world, and there is still some change to be had, I think, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
100%.
It's right on, Sue. I hate to be talking so much. I want to pass this thing back to you. Thank you so much for having me on your show here. This has been such a great conversation.
Absolutely. Well, and if anyone has thoughts that they want to bounce off of you along the way too, what is the best way for people to potentially find more information about what you all do?
Well, our best resource is probably our website. That's CIBNconnect.com. A little slower, CIBNconnect.com. Or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Joshua George, and I'm probably one of the top results if you go check me out on that platform.
Excellent. Well, Joshua, this has been such a pleasure. Michael, always love having you with us here. For
Thank
all of
you.
us here with Ability MKE Now, we thank